Beer design is all over the place. So I bought all these beers to figure out which one not only tastes the best, but which one has the best graphic, packaging, and logo design. So first up, we have Miller Lite. And how this is going to work is I'm going to rank them all on one tier list that takes into consideration all the design and how it looks and everything. And then the other tier list is going to be purely based off the taste and just how good the beer is. And if you stick around to the end, you can see which ones win in these different categories. All right, so starting out with the design on this one, I actually quite like the Miller Lite. I feel like it has a cool, typography, like with this nice serif font, and it's clean, and it has the nice white color. I think I'll give this one maybe a C tier in the design department. Yep, just as I remembered, it's pretty shit. Honestly, probably one of the lower tier beers on this list. I think for taste wise, we're going to throw this in, I don't know if it's quite F. I think we'll put it in the D tier just to be nice. Next up, we have Sierra Nevada's Hazy Little Thing. This one kind of has a little special place in my heart because it's brewed in Chico, and that's where I went to college, and we were pretty much drinking this like every weekend. They had this at all the bars and all the parties and whatever. They did a cool job of making this kind of like psychedelic packaging design. It's a little busy. I feel like they could have done a better job at incorporating some of the smaller type and on the top and everything, but overall, I think they did a good job, and I like the colors, and it's honestly a recognizable can. So I think for this one, I'm going to put it in the B tier. I haven't had one of these in a while, but I remember them being pretty good. By IPA standards, I know a lot of people don't like them, but I feel like the hazy kind of takes a little bit of the edge off and makes it not quite as like hoppy or just bitter, And this one has like a good, repeatability. I feel like you could drink it all the time. And for being 6.7%, getting your money's worth, and it honestly tastes pretty good. So I think we'll put the hazy in the A tier. Crack into our first bottle. We have the Blue Moon Belgian style white ale. I don't really think anything's too special about the design. They're obviously going for this kind of old school like Art Nouveau style. I do like when these bottles though have the cool caps like that. I think that's a plus. And it's not terrible, especially compared to some of these other ones. So I think for the Blue Moon, I think we'll put it in the C tier for design. So, I mean, for taste, it kind of has this flavor of like almost like a pulp, like orange juice. Like it has the orange peel in it, and it's kind of cloudy, like it's a wheat ale or whatever. So it's all almost like kind of like the hazy or whatever. And it's honestly, I think a lot of people like it, but it's not one of my favorites personally. And I think it's kind of flat almost. Like it doesn't have enough carbonation. So I think we'll put the Blue Moon in like a C tier. So this one, Dos Equis, is probably the third most popular Mexican beer. I think it's pretty decent overall. They have kind of the Mexican colors, but I think they would have been a lot cooler if they just used this side profile as like the main thing. I feel like this typography and everything is a lot stronger than the main graphic itself. So I don't know. That kind of saves it a little bit, and it has a cool kind of background pattern. So design wise, we'll put this one in C tier. It's all right. I mean, I feel like Dos Equis is, in my opinion, just kind of like a worse version of Modelo or Corona or even Pacifico. So considering we have those ones in the bunch too, I'll probably put it in like a C tier. Man, I'm about to catch a buzz off sipping all these. All right, we'll go for the Banky. This one, all-time classic, especially with all my high school friends and around here where I grew up. Cheap, decent. We were always drinking it. I think the design's pretty cool, honestly. Like it has this, I think without the 150 years, that's the anniversary thing. It's a lot more clean of like a lockup. But overall, it's like not a bad design. And I like the color of the can and the big slab serif. I think we'll put this one B tier design wise. Taste, it's nothing special. It's not that good, honestly. It's like a shitty beer, but it does have good, drinkability and repeatability. Like you can kind of buy it all the time. And I feel like that you got to take into consideration at least a little bit. Yeah, the Banky, I mean, I hate to say it, but C or B, at the very least a C. We'll see what the final score decides on. Next up, we got Mickey's malt liquor. Arguably one of the worst ones on here. I mean, you get these in the 40s for like less than $2-3. But I really do like the design. I always really like the green and the type, and they're not trying too hard to be like contemporary or trendy. And they always had that cool little bee on there, or like hornet or whatever. Design wise, I'm gonna put it in the B tier, but I already think it's gonna go pretty low in the taste. Yeah, it's shit. I think this might be our first F, maybe a D, but at the very least a D. I think I'll put it in F for now. All right, next we got 805. This is kind of our first like more microbrewery one on the list. I always thought they had a decent kind of setup, you know, with the type and the lettering and the clean black layout. They weren't trying to do anything too crazy with it. And I think it applies good to the different sizes, like up here on the bottle cap. So I think we'll put 805 design-wise in the B tier. Yeah, I think 805 I'm going to put, it's not quite a S tier, but taste-wise, definitely put it in the A tier. This one, Natty Light, pretty awful beer, but they did rebrand it recently to this kind of cool, I really like this serif type and the colors and the white clean can with the blue, gold, and red. It used to be very like trashy, mountain-esque beer style. Like, it's funny though that this might be my prediction for, oh, I'm burping so much, for best design, worst beer ratio. But I really like that on the side, right? That looks really cool. So I think for design, this might be my first S tier. I actually really like this one. It might be F tier beer, so I'm gonna give it D. I'm gonna give it D tier for now. It's not honestly not awful. For the Guinness, we're gonna obviously have to pour it in the can. Or in the glass, I mean. So I guess you kind of do it like this from what I remember to get it all nice and milky like that, and then you let it sit till it's like completely black. So while that settles down, we'll move on to one of the other ones. Honestly, I have no idea what this is. One of the other kind of fancy microbrewery ones. This is by Allagash, but I just thought it looked really cool with that gold leaf kind of flaky design with that nice like typography on it, cool little crown layout. I liked this one and I thought it just stood out on the shelf. So I'm gonna give this one probably an A tier design wise. See how it tastes. Never had this in my life. It's all right. It kind of tastes like a better version of the Blue Moon. I think I'll give this one a B tier. All right, next up, Red Stripe. I always really liked how this one looked, label and design itself, but the shape of the little stubby bottles, I always thought they were cool. This is from Jamaica. It's like their most popular beer over here. It's like our Budweiser or, you know, Mexico's Modelo, whatever. I really like the design. It's simple and they have the red stripe kind of continuing the branding up top. I think that's really cool. And then we'll put Red Stripe design-wise in the A tier. From what I remember, it's pretty good too. And I got to take into consideration that some of these are getting warmer now. It's not bad. I think we'll put it in the B tier. All right, let's get to the Guinness. Guinness, they always keep it pretty simple with their black cans and the cool like signature and gold on the side, the little harp. And honestly, I always like how they kept it kind of traditional. They didn't change too far from this kind of historic branding that they have. What's cool about these is it comes with like a little nitrogen ball in here. The type's good. Everything looks pretty cohesive and nice. I think we'll put this one in the A tier. I like these. They're not for everybody, but they're really good, especially when you get them at like a bar on tap. With the mustache, I think we'll put Guinness A tier. All right, next up, we got Tecate. Probably my least favorite of the Mexican beers, but it's cheap, so you can't really blame it. But their design's kind of cool. They have this nice eagle and the sharp type. It's a little bit aggressive and kind of sports driven. I feel like this is probably the one that sold most at soccer games or football games. I don't know, something too special. I think we'll put this one in the C tier design wise. I like the red though. I remember it being pretty bad. It kind of tastes like piss, like water. It's kind of low-key better than the shitty American beers, actually. It's not quite an F. I'm going to put it in the D tier. Rolling Rock. This one, these are funny. This is how you know that they're kind of on the lower tier quality of beer. Taste quality-wise is the 25 ounce. The tall boys are usually 24 ounce, but they give you that extra ounce when they're shitty. So the Michelob has that, the Busch. But I really like the green on Rolling Rock and the blue. And it's just like a cool little badge, you know, and this this green can and the shininess really stands out on the in the aisle. So I think I might put Rolling Rock design wise, like maybe not logo and stuff. It's not like the coolest, but this whole thing taken into consideration, we'll put this one in the A tier design wise. It might be competing with Natty Light. It's funny how so far the shittiest beers have some of the better design, and maybe because they got to work more for it on the shelf. If you think something's good, you're buying it regardless how it looks. Yeah, F tier. From Japan, we got the Asahi, product of Italy. That's interesting. I always get this one or Sapporo when I'm out at sushi. I think though, I really like the silver. Sapporo does that too, and that cool cap up top. The silver and the black just stands out a lot, and that logo type is fire with the red and the different lettering. It's just like a really clean, classic look. They're not going for anything too modern either. I like this one a lot. I think it's going to go in the A tier. I also remember liking this beer a lot, so. A tier design, A tier beer. We'll give it that. At first, I was going to do this and try to think in my head. I was like, oh, I'll just drink all of them, you know? That's why I'm only taking a sip, even though it may seem a little bit wasteful. But I cannot be drinking all these. I'll be not able to finish the video. Michelob Ultra. This one is like your classic. You see dudes who work out a lot or people trying to not drink heavy beers drinking this one because I think it's known for having like the least calories or carbs or whatever. So it's a really light beer, but I remember it not actually tasting too bad. They're kind of doing a lot with their type, but with the script and that serif, it's kind of locked up pretty clean. And it's cool how, if you see, it's split in half on the blue and white. I kind of like that. It's creative and not a lot of other companies are doing that. I think I'll give it a B tier in the design. These are getting warmer, so I'm really trying to speed run it. That way I don't take that too much into consideration. However, it's pretty shitty. I'm going to put Michelob in the C tier. D tier. All right, Foster's. This one's kind of cool, even if you don't like the design too much on it, but the type's not too bad. It's kind of cool how they do this chubby can. And this is, I think, the same. Is this 24 ounces? Yeah, so this is 25. This is same amount of liquid in here, just made into a big round can. And this one's from Australia, I believe. Yeah, they have the kangaroo on there. It's pretty cool. Considering the can and everything, I think we'll put it in the B tier. It's so funny the tab on top's the same size though. Look at all that extra room. I don't remember how this one tastes. It's pretty good. I think B tier design, B tier beer flavor as well. Beer taste. They're hitting me. Next up, we got another bottle, Stella. This one is a little bit more overcomplicated design-wise on the badge, but their cans look really cool too because it's just this awesome type up along the side. I always really like the type with that star in the middle and the red. Whew. And the green beer or the green bottle is cool too. I think considering that, these look better in a can, so I won't knock it too much. And the gold tap or gold cap, I think this one will go A tier. Besides like Mexican beers, these are my favorite like go-to repeatable ones that aren't too complicated like these IPAs and shit. A tier. A tier beer. Have I give any beer S tier? Might be up there. It's one of my favorites. I'm going to go S tier. Now we got something a little heavier, the Lagunitas IPA. I feel like a lot of these microbreweries, this is one of the more famous ones. You've probably heard of it. They do this everywhere, like this kind of badge type thing. And it's cool design, and I like how they get creative with the dog. And they do a lot of different packaging that's cool. This is their normal flagship one. And that cap is pretty cool with the dog on it. I think design-wise, we'll put it in the B tier. But these Lagunitas, they're just like those classic IPA flavor that tastes pretty bitter. And if you like this, you know, they all taste the same. All the Lagunitas. I don't care what you say. Yeah, I don't like it. D tier. All right, Pacifico, one of the other more popular Mexican beers behind Modelo and Corona. And their thing's kind of all over the place. I don't really like the design at all. I do like the brown bottle though with the clean cap, the yellow. The colors are cool. But they're actually one of the ones that I think could benefit a little bit from modernizing some and getting away from some of these traditional shapes and things. Other people do it well, like PBR and stuff, but I'm not really feeling this one. I'm going to put it in the D tier design-wise. but I think it's a decent beer. Probably around a C. Yeah, we'll put C tier. C tier taste, D tier design. Each of those just look like a sip, but probably had at least a few beers now. This one is a popular beer in Germany. Correct me if I'm wrong, if anyone's German out there. I'm pretty sure this is like your Bud Light or Budweiser, like a popular beer. Not flavor-wise, but that you kind of can get anywhere. This shit's dope, though. They have that cool little guy on the front, the gold with the white. It looks really nice and shiny. And this side profile logo type with the Old English, that's beautiful. This is a S tier design, in my opinion. If it ranks above a B, it might be contender for best overall, taking both into consideration. I forget how it tastes. I used to get it at Trader Joe's. Oh, shit. I'll put it B tier, just to be honest. All right, we got next up a classic shitter, Coors Light. Arguably probably one of the least cool designs and worst beers. The red does pop on this silver can. I do like that it's recognizable. And they do that whole, if the Rockies are blue, if the beer's cold and these things are blue, it's like some technology in there that shows that that's how you know it's cold. But it's nothing special, honestly. I think we'll put it in the C tier design-wise. It's Coors, D tier. The shitty beer that I like the most for some reason, and I really like the traditional kind of design they have with this badge, and it's a lot going on, but it works and it's classic, and they've kind of changed it over the years, but they kept true to their original kind of style. So PBR, I respect for that. And they also do a lot of cool stuff for artists and things, and that's cool. I like how it looks. I'm going PBR A tier. And this is obviously subjective taste-wise, so I might rank this higher than what people think, but yeah. The reason I like it is it's not great, but it's not bad, and you can drink it over and over. Same way I feel about Modelo. So PBR, we're going B tier. Modelo. It's weird. It's so hard for me not to judge this one biasly. The design is kind of all over the place. If I saw it without any context, I may not rank it as high, but it is cool. They have the lion. It's traditional. The type is cool. I like the gold. The gold leaf on the bottle versions is cool too. Honestly, I think we'll put Modelo B tier. I don't want to hear it. I know it's Modelo, and I'm trying to be objective, but this is my go-to regardless of all the fancier beers. And yeah, it may not be the best I've ever had, but the repeatability is top tier. And for that, I'm putting Modelo in the S tier. Speaking of S tiers, we got Sapporo. Telling you off the bat right now, S tier design. The silver can pops. The star is cool. The type is locked up nice with that matte black. And then you got the red. It's just like a beautiful concept, and it looks good on the bottle too. And one of my favorite parts, the black tab up top, contrasting with the silver. So Sapporo, S tier design, and honestly, pretty good beer as well. A tier. A tier taste-wise, S tier design. I don't know why I saved this one so long. It's going to be gnarly. Voodoo Ranger by New Belgium. I don't think I like this one necessarily, the experimental, but the caveat, I will say the Juice Force is really good. It's pretty cool. They have cooler ones, so I'm not giving it a lot of credit with choosing this one, but it was just already in my fridge. So I think design-wise, the yellow's cool, the custom type. I like how it's a little creative and different from most of them, so B tier. Oh, if you like IPAs, you might like this, but I'm not the hugest fan, especially when they're that strong. I mean, this thing is gnarly. I'm going to put it in the F tier. I'm sorry that this Voodoo has to go down with Natty Light and all that, but if it was a Juice Force, it'd be like a B or an A, but this one's no good. Owl Farms Mango Tahine Gose or Gose. Oh, it says pronounced Goza. Goza. It's cool they have the little illustrations of the ingredients, and I like this kind of custom mango pouring the tahine on itself. This one's an A tier. I like the gradient too. I like tahine, so let's see. Oh, it's like sour and spicy. It's a little weird. This is one of those ones you'd only want one of, but it's good. But considering you wouldn't want it all the time, I'll put it in the B tier. Bud Light. One of the certified classics. They've changed it a lot over the years. Now it looks like a nice kind of big clean sans serif. And honestly, the side profile with that Bud Light does look pretty cool. It's not an awful design, especially contrasting it with some of the other like shitty low tier beers like this. I'll put it in the C tier, but the flavor is D tier. I don't even need to try it to tell you that. It's not F because it's good for drinking games and it's better than Miller and Natty Light and Rolling Rock. So it does deserve D, but it's not great. Pomona Queen. I got to show some love to the local areas. You probably never heard of this unless you're from around here, but this is my favorite beer. So I'm telling you now, this is S tier in the taste. I'm not even going to comment on it after that. The design sucks. Might be a contender for worst design, best beer. I'm honestly putting the design in a D tier. Fire. S tier. All right, we got a handful left. It's like I said, the big 25 ounce, very butt rock-esque, the big one. This is they're marketing to. It's set in stone. Bush Light or Bush Normal. I first found out about this when I went to Chico. I think they own Anheuser-Busch and all that. So this is like their normal one. I'm losing my critical thinking skills, design, critique. I like the gold. The type's cool. And it's like kind of like Coors, but a little more complicated. I'll put it in the D tier design-wise. Taste-wise, it's low. F tier taste. So Miller, next up, Miller High Life. This is probably one of the cheapest beers in this whole thing, but contrasting that with how it tastes, it's pretty damn good. It's a good deal. You get like a 12 pack for like $7.99. And the design is cool. They have that kind of traditional type with the serif and the script type and everything. And it's not called the champagne of beers for nothing. So design wise, I'm going to put it in the B tier. In flavor, honestly, considering how cheap it is, you can buy it all the time and it's pretty good compared to the other ones. You can't quite go A just because it's not on that level. But I think it's B tier design, B tier flavor. Corona. I didn't have the actual Corona normal. This is Premier. It's like a light beer or whatever. So I know how the normal label looks and maybe I'll go off that. Regardless, I'm giving it like a C. It's nothing special. And taste wise, I don't really like it. It's like a worse Modelo. This might be worse than Pacifico too. Here's the thing though. This is a C or D tier beer, Corona. But when you put the lime in it, it elevates it to arguably an A or an S. But you can't rely on that because they're not always going to have that with you. But if you take the average of that, S tier with lime, C tier without lime, I'll give it a B tier, Corona. Not this Premier. This kind of tastes like shit, but the original one. Next up, we have Bohemia. This is similar to Modelo and all that, another Mexican beer, but it's way less popular and I don't really hear about it too much. And the designs, like they have the gold leaf like Modelo, but it doesn't really look too as good with the dark bottle. And the type it's cool, but I don't really like this just skinny sideways sticker. So I'm going to give it a D tier design, honestly. In taste, it's not too bad from what I remember. It's all right. It's warm as hell now, but I think C tier is fine. For some reason, I like it. I really like the green bottle. It pops even more than the Stella one. And the blue and the red, similar color palette to Stella, but it pops. This one's from Italy. I like it. It's classic, but a lot of those countries I feel like in Europe keep that classic badge heritage look, especially when it comes to like football and stuff and all the crests and everything. I'll put this one in the B tier. I don't think I've had one of these like once at a work party one time. It's pretty good. I actually like this. A tier. The king of beers, Budweiser. You got to kind of respect them for keeping it OG, and they brag on the bottle. We know no brand produced by any other brewery, which costs so much to brew and age. Our exclusive aging process. We beat any other beer at this price. They're cocky, they're American, they fit the brand. And honestly, it's not awful design wise. They've had the cooler cans were in like the 70s and 80s, but I'll give it B tier design wise. And the taste, it's beer. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not anything special, but it's not awful either. It's what you imagine beer tastes like in your mind. It's the most classic flavor of all time. And it has good repeatability. And for that, let me think. We'll give it, scores might be going up as this thing went on, because I'm getting biased. All right, we'll give it a C tier. Taste wise. Here's a final look at both tier lists. We have the design tier list, all ranked right here based on the design, packaging design, logo design, all that stuff. Then we have the taste list based on not only the initial taste, but the flavor, how often you'll want to drink it, how complicated it is. Took all that into consideration. I'm gonna hand it over to Jesse from a different time to let you know the ones that won the awards for the different categories. So the winner of Best Design and Worst Beer goes to Natty Light. The winner of Worst Design, Best Beer goes to Pomona Queen. The worst overall is Busch. The best overall is Sapporo. And my personal favorite, Modelo. Thank you for watching. I hope you liked this one. Let me know in the comments if there's anything else that you think could work for ranking both the design and the quality of the thing, food, taste, whatever it may be, and a little bit different, but I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace. Sheesh.